So with Gudagooda 3 coming back around, we have like 14 octomajillion servants to go over and cover, and the first of which is the featured 5-star that's going to be going on right up, Okita Alter, who funnily enough was the first servant that I covered here on the channel, so it's kind of nice to like loop all the way back and, you know, talk about her once again about a year later and talk about if she still holds up. If you enjoy daily FGO content though, consider giving your boy that like and subscribe, as it does support the channel and, you know, helps me on my road to 10k. So consider doing that if you like daily FGO content. Now, looking at Okita Alter's hits, her hits look very, very good on paper. She has 2 quick cards that are very powerful with 5 hits each, with a 10% star generation stat, meaning she can actually gen some pretty decent amount of stars. 3 hits on the 1 arts though, with 0.77% NP gen is a little weak, although if you can get an arts crit on that, you can gen about 40% NP, which is kind of low, but is passable with the proper support. And then finally, 5 hits on her extra attack is very solid. That is the gold standard that I like to see. Anything less and she would have been banned, but anything higher and she would have been accepted. 3 hits on the 2 busters might help her gen some stars, but unfortunately Okita Alter doesn't really have anything buffing her star gen, so if you wanted to actually drop decent amounts of stars, you will need to use like Merlin's second skill to help her out in that star gen. But if you do use that, she can actually drop a decent amount of stars. Now, starting off with her first skill, we have what is basically the foundation of Okita Alter's deck. She is a hybrid quick and buster servant, and so she is getting 30% to both for 3 turns on a 6-turn cooldown. Now, essentially what this is like for is you're buffing your buster damage, which is like your 2 buster cards and then your NP, so that's like your main damage. And then the quick cards are essentially supposed to help you gen NP and help you gen stars. So this is supposed to kind of elevate the quick cards ability to gen NP and stars and kind of assist in their ability to gen NP and your ability to do arts crits, because you're supposed to be genning a lot of stars. Now, this might be a little bit of a nitpick, but this probably should have been on a 5-turn cooldown to really just give her that little extra bit of help, because otherwise you're going to be having a 3-turn downtime with this, and considering you're probably going to be using her with Merlin, you're not going to be getting quite enough NP back because of that. Now, you could try to do a hybrid build where you build her with Merlin and Scotty as support, because Scotty will greatly help those quick cards and will drop a 50% battery on her, so that can kind of help round out this skill. And it also does help generalize her crit damage, as Merlin's wanting her to do big buster crits, Scotty will help her do big quick crit, and her NP actually does get a little bit of use because her NP gives a little bit of extra crit damage, which Okita Alter does not have innately, and she would greatly love to have that. Now, her second skill is a 30% battery that gives her star absorption for 1 turn, also on a 6-turn cooldown. However, this will get buffed in the future to give an additional 20% attack for 3 attacks for 3 turns. Again, still on a 6-turn cooldown. I think the most use you're going to get out of this is for the battery. You're not really going to use this for star absorption. That's kind of just a nice little side effect, especially because it's only for 1 turn. However, the 30% battery does give her some utility as a farmer, and the additional damage that she'll get next year with Gudagooda 4 really does help her out a lot, because before that buff she really does hit like a wet potato, especially at NP 1. Finally, there's her third skill, which gives her 30% NP damage for 1 turn and 1 evasion for 3 turns, and that is on a 5-turn cooldown, which is kind of backwards if you ask me, because usually the survivability skills are the ones with the longer cooldowns and the damage ones are the ones with the shorter cooldowns. But I mean, it's whatever they want to do, man. With Okita Alter's update, this actually does help her out a lot, because it means she has 3 different types of damage multipliers multiplying into themselves, especially if you use this after her NP, because spoiler alert, her NP is also going to assist her in her damage, but only after you use it a few times. So subsequent NPs will actually hit a lot harder than the first one if you can kind of time it and play around it correct. Now, as for survivability, this is somewhat weak. It is 1 hit, so if you're going to like live an enemy NP or you just need to get through a turn, it might help you out just a little bit by letting you have 1 free hit. But considering they're probably expecting you to run her with Merlin, who has the AoE nope skill with his second skill, they probably didn't think it was going to be all that big of a deal to only give her 1 hit. Hopefully they do buff this in the future and just bump that up to 2 attack, because I think that would greatly help her out a lot in challenge quest, which, considering she's an alter ego, you're probably going to want to bring her to a lot of challenge quests, because she's able to hit all cavalry classes for super effective damage. Then there's her NP, which, keep in mind, is still unbuffed, and all it really does is reduce the enemy buster damage or their resistance to buster damage by 30 to 50% for 3 turns. And this is why I say subsequent NPs are going to hit a lot harder, because you are continuing to lower the enemy resistance to buster, which is her main damage type. Now, you may see that it has 7 hits and you might think, okay, she's going to be doing some mad star gen. just like Raiko, just like Emiya, and just like Iskandar. But the difference between Okita Alter and those Buster servants is they all have a massive crit star generation buff that allows them to gen a whole lot of stars very easily, especially with their NP. Okita Alter unfortunately does not have that, so I feel like an NP buff is coming in soon that will give her maybe like 100% crit star generation for one turn, and then also will buff the NP just off the merit of it being an NP buff. And from there, we'll have a very solid servant. But as she stands right now, especially on NA, I can't recommend you guys to summon for her, because at NP1, she's going to be hitting a lot like a wet sock, and while she is very fun to play with, I really do like the Buster Quick hybrid style of gameplay. She's just not quite there yet, especially without her skill upgrade. If you really want to hold out, you can hold out until they buff her NP, where they probably again will give her crit star generation to really help that Buster crit meme type of gameplay that she has going for her. But I can't recommend summoning for her right now. She's just not quite up to par. Now, if you're like a dolphin type person, or you maybe do have the means to throw some Saint Quartz at certain banners, because maybe you buy Saint Quartz here and there, maybe you buy a pack when a new banner comes out, then Okita Alter is going to be very nice for the upcoming event with a 100% damage mod that she's going to get for free. That is going to allow her to do big ooga booga damage during the farming node, and will make your life a whole lot easier during the event. But she's not necessary. You can clear the event just fine without Okita Alter. She's just going to make your life a little bit easier. But let me know in the comments down below, are you going to be summoning for Okita Alter? Did I convince you to maybe hold your Saint Quartz off? Because again, she should be coming in, I know I've been saying next year, but it actually might be the year after that. It might actually be the Gouda 4 rerun that she gets her buff. It's something around Gouda 4. Irregardless, you should be waiting until she gets her buff, because at that point she turns from a wet sock to just being a normal sock and becomes just a little bit better. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe, as it does help your boy out. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace late, guys. The thing I wanted to tack at the end of the video here is that if you summon for King Protea, you definitely don't need to summon for Okita Alter. I know that's probably the big question on everybody's mind, because they fill the exact same role as Buster AoE alter egos, and I know a lot of people did summon very hard for King Protea, and a lot of people did end up getting her. So if you do have King Protea, you definitely do not need to summon for Okita Alter. It's not like Okita Alter is that much better than King Protea, to where if you have her, you still need to summon for her. Again, without her buffs, she's going to be very mid or kind of disappointing for the next couple of years. So I would highly advise people to hold off on summoning for Okita Alter. Again, especially since the Lady Reigns event, I believe, is the next event coming up. And Reigns is an amazing support that people probably should be saving for. After that is Arjuna Alter, who blows Okita Alter's back out in terms of being like a farming and challenge quest servant. There's just no comparison to be made between the two of them. And then after that, we have Summer 4 coming up with the Summer 3 rerun, which brings people like Jean Archer, who is now infinitely more valuable because we know Castoria is coming out. But following that, again, Berserker Musashi, infinitely more valuable because we know Castoria is coming out. Summer Melt, infinitely, immensely valuable with the idea that Castoria is going to be coming out in like 2 years. And she's already really good right now as well. Summer Melt is probably the prize of Summer 4. And then Super Orion coming out later on down the year, who's like just the solo god of the game. Like, he just blows everybody up. Again, with all of these very powerful servants coming up, and with the knowledge that Okita Alter is going to be getting buffed next year, and that's going to make her way better, there's absolutely no way that I could advise people to summon for her on this banner. As cute as she is and as great as she is, I can't in good conscience tell people to summon for her, although I will be doing a comparison video between her, and they do serve the exact same little role. But anyway, now I'm actually going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late, guys.